I'm going to put a link on the bottom to my Dream channel. This is the most recent Dream channel I created on YouTube because the first Dream channel I had was deleted by YouTube for whatever reason. And it only talked about dreams that I had. A lot of them could be looked at as conspiracy theories. And many of the dreams I have, or most of the dreams I have, are prophetic in nature. Many of which had already come true. I had a dream regarding population reduction. I believe this was back in 2012, and I might have re-uploaded that video on my Dream channel. I'm going to put a link to that Dream channel on the bottom, and you guys go take a look at some of the dreams I had recorded on that channel. Now, it's interesting that the minds of Americans have been bogged down and focused on Donald Trump. And I've often talked about how Americans are under some form of witchcraft, mind manipulation, and mind control. And many Americans don't believe. They just feel within themselves that their thoughts are their thoughts. I also made videos about how modern technology will be weaponized, would be used as weapons against Americans. There are weapons that exist that outweigh nuclear explosions. A lot of people are up in arms about North Korea's nuclear attack, Russia nuclear attack, and I believe Russia is the scapegoat in many things that's happening, just like in this article here. I also mentioned in videos of the past regarding David Icke and a lot of the materials that he also put out. It's interesting that much of what David Icke talked about in his book some years ago are now manifesting themselves. Now, I'm sure not too many Americans heard about this attack upon Americans in Cuba. And I know I'm skipping around because there's so much that keeps coming to my mind that I would like to put in this video, but I'm trying to keep the video short. I also talked about the gay bomb that was used on Americans, turning passions towards each other, same-sex passion towards each other, men with men and women with women. There are so many weapons that's used against Americans today that Americans are not even aware of. As you see here, it says, U.S. now believes Russia, the scapegoat, is behind sonic attack. Now, most of you would ask, what sonic attack are they talking about? This is the bug out right here. Because they really don't need nuclear weapons anymore. They really don't need to shoot or behead citizens anymore. Because they can take you out with just a sound. Yes, I'm going to repeat that again. They can take you out with just a sound. And death is not always killing you and burying you and you no longer exist. You can actually be dead and yet alive. Because if your mind is not working, if you have mental issues, if you are trapped within your own mind or your own body, then you are in fact dead. And there's a lot of dead people that's walking around on this earth. Now Russia believes that Russia is behind sonic attack on 26 embassy personnel in Cuba. It says diplomatic workers in China similarly afflicted in what are now believed to have been microwave rather than sonic attack. Russia is believed to be behind the strange sonic attack that have left U.S. diplomats in concussion, like injuries in Cuba and China, according to a report Tuesday. Now, it's interesting that this article is coming out now. The media kind of quickly mentioned it, but you won't hear too much of this on CNN or MSNBC or networks like that, because they're like focusing on, they're keeping your mind on Trump, because the Democrats have an agenda. And like I mentioned in prior videos, and a lot of YouTubers are making, that they care nothing about the average citizen. The media is pushing the race card. They're working on your emotions, turning citizens against each other when it have nothing to do with you. It's all about them. Trump came along and disrupted their agenda. The same agenda that many YouTubers had talked about in the past and still talk about. Not as much. It seems that many YouTubers that talked about the Illuminati and the things that the government was doing undercover, they kind of backed away from that. You don't hear too many people talk about that because they are afraid of losing their YouTube channel. They are afraid of losing the monetization of their videos if they talk about certain topics or subjects. But the minds of the average American have been so occupied and stuffed with hatred that they cannot see or even pay attention to what's really happening around them. And at the end of the day, you will also be sacrificed, just like this article talks about. It says, communications intercepts unknown to signals intelligence that point to Russia as the culprit have been collected as part of an ongoing investigation by the FBI and CIA and other agencies in the United States. Now, do you still believe in the FBI and CIA and other agencies in the United States? Do you really believe in them? Think about what's going on with Trump and with those that are around Trump that have nothing to do with their agenda. Just think about what's going on to people that's just around Trump, that supports Trump. Think about what's happening to them, how their families are disrupted, how their lives have changed forever. It says the evidence, though, isn't conclusive enough to formally blame Moscow. See, they're looking for a scapegoat, and Russia is the scapegoat for everything. They're turning your mind towards Russia when this is something that even the United States government may be doing themselves. It says 26 U.S. workers have been hurt in the attacks that occurred in their homes. Listen to this. In their homes or hotel rooms beginning in 2016. Most reported hearing high-pitched sounds, leading investigators to suspect a sonic weapon. The FBI later said sound waves alone couldn't have caused the symptoms, which included brain injury, loss of hearing, cognitive problems, difficulty with balance, and problems with vision and hearing. A U.S. employee experienced similar symptoms following an attack earlier this summer in Guangzhou, China. And then as you see the photo here, it says U.S. official suffered brain injury after sonic attack in China. Now it's interesting that this is coming forward now that this big trade thing is going on between the United States and China. Now keep in mind, they're saying that Americans and citizens of China was affected by this, but yet isn't Russia supposed to be backing China? Right? Think about that. But yet Russia is being blamed for this sonic or microwave attack on citizens. So this is all a ploy to detract. You know, it's to push your mind towards the scapegoat, Russia. Russia is the fault for the elections. Russia's the fault for everything. Everything is Russia. There's an agenda here. And Russia don't have anything to do with this. I don't believe they do. I really don't believe it. Now scientists are saying microwaves could be to blame, according to CNN. I don't watch CNN because CNN is full of lies. And it's manipulated and programmed the minds of many Americans, especially black Americans. See, y'all think this is a big race thing. Everything now is about race and black people, but yet there's a lot of white people now that's being sacrificed. These diplomats in China were sacrifices. See, they had to blame, they had to test it and blame it on someone. And I would not be surprised if they already tested on black people. And even white people, because there are so many people now that claim to have mental issues. Why all of a sudden now you have all of these people with mental issues? These people that's committing suicide. These people that's depressed. See, all of these things now in 2018. Where people now have a thirst and a taste for blood. And they're controlled, they're easily controlled and manipulated. Their minds are easily manipulated. It says the unexplained incidents have worsened relations between China and the United States, which pulled out most of its diplomats from Havana and tossed 17 Cuban counterparts from Washington. Cuba has denied any involvement, and officials there don't believe a sonic device is to blame. The incidents are being probed by the State Department's Internal Accountability Review Board. The State Department has come to the determination that they were attacks. The head of the board, retired Ambassador Peter Baudet, testified before Congress last week. Now, did anyone else know about that? A source told NBC News that the U.S. has no reason to believe this was anything but an intentional act. The Kremlin didn't immediately respond to messages seeking comment. Last week, a top security official in the UK pointed the finger at Vladimir Putin for the deadly nerve agent attacks excuse me, that nearly killed a former Russian spy and his daughter in England. Now, like I said, this is information, man, that you really didn't hear on the main news sites. You didn't, because everybody's mind is occupied with Donald Trump. Go on Twitter right now and look at the majority of tweets that you see. They're all attacking Trump, or they have something to do with Trump. That's how programmed the minds of Americans are today. They have no idea what they are doing or why they are doing that. And they believe that those thoughts that they have are their own thoughts. And I talked about this in prior videos. So I'm going to put this article on the bottom, and I want you guys to check it out. Feedback, tell me what you think. Now, I had to put this on my WordPress page because it's interesting that a lot of articles that I talked about in the past, just like this one, and I put links on the bottom, end up disappearing. When people go to those sites, it's no longer there. They can't find it. Where the internet had been scrubbed. Google scrubbed certain information off the internet. There were certain news sites that this information was on that had videos. Every one of those sites I went to that had a video, the video was taken off. It was disabled. You're not able to view that video. It's just written text. So the US citizens are under attack. This is all a part of population reduction, whether you want to believe it or not, whether you accept it or not. What's going to be is going to be. And American citizens are the target. They got you fighting against yourselves. And not just fighting against your neighbor or the person next to you or the person of another race, but they have you fighting against yourself. Struggling within yourself. Struggling what is right and what is wrong. And they have your mind so doped up to the point you now think backwards. You think what used to be right is now wrong, and what was wrong is now right. Just look at how the average American have changed. Belief systems have changed. And now everything that you ever wanted, the government is now legalizing everything that at one time was wrong. They now even have you, what's the term I want to use? They even now have you praising socialism, because the average millennial have no idea what socialism really is. You're new in this world, so you're thinking socialism is helping people. You think socialism is spreading the wealth, taking someone else's wealth and sharing it with you. But that's not what socialism is. See, there's like different definitions for words, man. And you may think of socialism, that's helping people. I want to help people. And your heart may be in the right place. But it's wrong. And you're supporting that. Every dirty game the demon craps can think of, they're playing, and you believe in it. You're gobbling that right up. And when they get what they want, they're going to sacrifice you. And they don't have to now even touch you. As you see in this article, and like I said, go check out the link on the bottom and make videos about it. Spread the information. They don't have to touch you anymore. They'll just send out a signal. Just a few years ago, and I'm going to end this video. A few years ago, a lot of people were complaining about a sound. This weird sound that people were hearing from coast to coast. Even overseas, they were hearing this loud sound. And people were trying to figure out what that sound was. The government claimed they were investigating that sound. And even you had some people trying to justify what the sound was. But every now and then you'll hear this crazy sound like this horn blast. And no one knew what that sound was. No one knew where it was coming from. But then after that incident occurred, people started acting weird. People talked about the chemicals that's being sprayed by planes in the air. You know, we talk about that all the time. Where you see the planes that leave the trails in the sky. You know? So they've always been working their crafts on us, and many of us just don't realize it, or we don't want to know it. But anyway, check out this article I put on the bottom. I know this sounds crazy, but this is in the news. And like a lot of y'all like to say, Google it. The information is there. But this is information that's not going to be highlighted in the media, because they don't want your attention here. They'll put it out there and say, well, we showed it to you. But yet, while they're showing you this, they got something else right in front of your face so that you're not able to see what they're about to do to you. So feedback, tell me what you think. Till next time, I'm Fearless.